Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we watched 3 more episodes of Season 3 of The Muppet Show that aired between December 14th, 1978 and January 18th, 1979. A brand new year.
Phew, finally. Almost
We
out
made
of the,
it.
Almost out of the damn 70s.
Those stinky 70s.
Get me away from this polyester. These wood paneled walls. Disco. I'm ready for the 80s, baby.
You're literally standing in a room of wood-paneled walls currently.
Oh, no. I'm trapped in the 70s forever.
But these are the episodes featuring guests Gilda Radner, Marrisa Berenson, and Spike Milligan.
You're slowly turning into the SNL guy.
That was a little Don Pardo, yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get into talking about those episodes, we've got a few other things to chat about, Sam. First and foremost, commitment pins started going out. People have received their commitment pins.
They've received them already?
Yeah.
You're a prompt mailman.
That's me. That's what everyone calls me, the prompt mailman, Matthew Gatos. But yes, some people have started receiving their pins already, and I think by the time this episode comes out, everyone who has ordered one already, they will have received them.
You know who hasn't received one? My ass. What's that all about? I even have lots of DVDs to give back to you, and you haven't even bothered. I guess I could come to your house, too. Though.
I was going to say, this is not like a one-way street.
We live so far away from each other, though.
We do live like approximately 10 minutes away from each other.
Which is a long time where we live.
That's true. Like, when you say across town in Missoula, that sounds far to people in Missoula. Everyone else you bring to Missoula and then say we have to go across town, they're like, wait, that was like literally a 5-minute drive.
Yeah, and you have to go in traffic.
Which, again, Missoula traffic is nothing compared to most cities' traffic. There's one kind of
busy street. Boo.
But I live near that busy street, so that's the problem.
Yeah,
so I always have to go down it. So basically what Sam is saying is he's never going to have a commitment pin.
I'm never leaving my house again, so...
And I never leave my house, so this could be a problem. You're going to have to order one at commitment.com.
No. I mean, yes, do it, everybody.
And we did not order a ton of these to start out with because we had no idea if they were going to do well. So they're about half sold out at this point, but we will probably order more if they do sell out. So don't worry if you happen to go looking for a commitment pin and they are not available. They will be again at some point in the future.
I think what you meant to say was there's only one left. Hurry, go, get it now. Imagine how exciting it would be if you passed someone else in the street and they had a commitment pin on. Maybe that could be your future partner, your spouse.
Your commitment soulmate.
Yeah.
You could have a commitment ceremony.
Just like me and you.
Exactly.
We're married, but we live in 2 different houses across town from each other. Just the way we like it.
It's a very complicated relationship. But before we get into talking about the Muppet Show today, Sam, we didn't highlight this last time, but we are now a little bit more than halfway done with the Muppet Show.
Oh, boy.
We have watched 63 of the 120 episodes of the Muppet Show. The halfway point was the Leo Sayer episode. That was the 60th episode. So we've got 57 episodes left to go. In checking on this math and seeing how far along we were, I realized that 18 of our 43 episodes have been about the Muppet Show. And it feels weird because I feel like we've done a lot more episodes about The Muppet Show than 18.
I feel the same exact way. I like The Muppet Show a lot. It's a high-quality product. But it's the same every week, basically.
Yeah, I think we were really, really enjoying, and not that we're not enjoying this part of the podcast, but I think we were really enjoying the beginnings of this podcast because there was so much advancement in either puppetry or storytelling or the character building early on with Jim Henson and the Muppets that everything we watched was like a revelation of like, oh my God, they've changed Fozzie completely, or Kermit's a whole different character now and he does this. He's actually a frog. Whereas now we are in this like 5-year period where nothing really changes.
Yeah. And then after this, we'll get to a point where there's like turmoil and experimentation and death and then Disney and all kinds of weird stuff. But yeah, the Muppet Show is just the Muppet Show straight through.
Yeah, and I think that's what's interesting in this period of time is that they're also not doing a lot else. Like they're doing the Muppet movie, obviously. But at this point, they're not doing a lot of other TV appearances because they're off over there in London. So they're not doing a lot of the shows they would normally be doing before the Muppet Show. But we will get a bit more of that, I think, into the 80s as the Muppet Show goes away and the Muppets are trying to like keep being relevant. So they'll keep making movies, but they'll also start doing a bit more of TV appearances. And that's really when we get into the era of Miss Piggy being everyone's favorite Muppet and everyone asking about their relationship forever.
I am also curious what people are thinking about the Muppet Show. Sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, that was straight bullshit that I just said. I wonder if anyone agrees with me or disagrees with me. So I know we do at the end of every episode call out that you should write us at insert email address here, please, Matt.
mail@commitment.com.
That's a great email address. Easy to remember.
Very easy to remember. I can't imagine anyone forgetting it.
No, it would be kind of crazy if you did and really stupid. So if you hear me or Matt talking and you're like, that's totally wrong, or I disagree with your take on that episode, here's mine. Or I agree with your take on that episode, here's mine. Or I can't believe you don't know who this person is, you complete moron. Here's why that's important that they were on the Muppet Show. Please write us, and we'll every few episodes we'll read what you guys wrote to us. But I think it would be fun if we got a bit of a back and forth going. I want to yell at some of our listeners and have them agree with me.
I was going to say, there is a tone to which you just told people to email us that I don't entirely enjoy as the person who checks those emails.
Oh, no.
That
just forward them all to me. Just close your eyes and click, 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 click.
I feel like almost all of your examples was tell us how we're stupid.
You know, that's the backbone of good criticism. Don't you think?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't think the criticism should start off with, so you dummies got something wrong.
I love to learn, Matt. I have a curious mind, and I'm sorry that you don't.
But I don't necessarily want to encourage that kind of behavior.
All right. Just tell us if you liked or didn't like the episodes. That's really what I'm mostly curious about, because we're just two men, very similar men, and we have very similar opinions and thoughts about the world. So if you want to tell us if you think an episode's good or bad, I'd love to hear that. Because
yes, that I would love to hear.
I want a newfound appreciation for the Leo Sayer episode, if such a thing exists.
I tried. I couldn't convince him, so other people need to write in and tell Sam, Leo Sayer good. I was in the grocery store the other day, and You Make Me Feel Like Dancing came on, and I was like, hell yes.
Did you
Leo
pull
Sayer?
Your suspenders?
I tried, but I forgot I wasn't wearing them.
Oh, no. You just stretched your nipples out really far on accident.
Yeah, like a really, really big man. I was just like...
Yeah.
All right, well, I think a really, really big man reference is probably a good sign that we should get back on track.
I'm only like 60% sure I know who that is. Is he from Rocko's Modern Life?
He is.
Great. Okay.
He's the big old superhero man who, for some reason, I don't remember, had nipples that would like extend and like attach to your eyes or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. I was scared of that show, so I didn't watch it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But yes, let's get back on track. Sam, what do we watch this week?
December 14th, 1978. New York City. Snowflakes quietly drift past your apartment window. I think I've used that line before, whatever. Your radiator hisses gently as you settle into your uncomfortable 70s couch to watch SNL superstar Gilda Radner on The Muppet Show. Things don't get off to a great start for Gilda, as her opening act, which was supposed to feature a giant singing parrot, instead features a giant singing carrot, but she makes the best of it. But then things get remarkably worse from there, as the Muppet Lab sketch goes very wrong and covers the entire stage in a powerful super glue. So, like, musicians stick to their instruments, Piggy sticks to Kermie, and Gilda sticks to the walls of the theater itself as she tries to perform her closing tap routine. And in the end, everybody's just stuck together in a big Muppet Katamari, you know? You know Katamari? People out there still know Katamari?
I don't know if is that still a popular game?
I don't know. Email us and tell us.
I know what you're talking about.
Great. Stand
I'll
out.
email.
We're the same person, though.
I forget. Sorry.
Standout moments include another fantastic Muppet melodrama. I love these. I wish this wasn't like the last one. Maybe there might be one more after this. And the backstage plot in which Gilda plays a huge role and which spills out to ruin the entire show, which is something that I will always love. Gilda is also a perfect Muppet guest star, in my opinion, and seems completely game and happy to be there. Just fits right in with the group. Gilda Radner is, of course, one of the original Saturday Night Live not ready for primetime players and an extremely influential figure in sketch comedy. At this point in her career, she's a huge star from Saturday Night Live, as are all the Saturday Night Live people, but she's only got 1 year there left because she will then follow Lorne Michaels out the door, along with almost every other cast member and writer except Bill Murray's brother, who betrays them all and stays. In 1980, when the producer left the show, seemingly forever, but he produces the show now, so obviously wasn't forever. He came back. And she's either about to meet or is currently dating Gene Wilder, who she will marry in 1984 and be with until her death from cancer in 1989.
Amazingly, Gene Wilder didn't do anything with the Muppets ever. Like, that blows my mind that man is just built to hang out with Muppets.
Yeah, and he's
he
got
married
friends
Gilda
who did
Radner.
it. And
Most of his friends
were in the
show
Muppet
business.
movie.
Like Dom DeLuise and Mel Brooks and all these people he's worked with many times. Marty Feldman, like all these people hang out with Muppets. Gene Wilder's like, not for me.
I could see him directing a Muppet movie.
Or at least helping write one.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading the Mel Brooks autobiography right now, and there's like obviously a lot of Gene Wilder stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many people throughout that book that have Muppet connections, and yet Gene Wilder is just hanging out on the side like, no, you know what?
Maybe he just didn't care for them.
Maybe he hates puppets.
He's scared of them. Next up, December 21st, 1978. I don't know if Gene Wilder's really scared of Muppets. That's a libel. This week's guest on The Muppet Show is model and actor Marrisa. Is that how she was saying her name?
Marrisa, yes.
Marrisa
I think I said it
Berenson.
wrong last week.
Yeah, Matt. Get it right. Kermit, per usual, has got problems. First, there's some little freak named Lou Zealand running around backstage, throwing around boomerang fish and begging to be let on the show. Second, Miss Piggy is in charge of the final number, and Kermit has a healthy amount of skepticism as to whether or not what she's planning will be funny. Because the sketch, all he knows about the sketch is that it's called The Wedding, and that he has one line in it, which is, I do. When the finale arrives, Kermit puts it all together. That autograph that Scooter had him signed, that sure looked like some kind of government document. And that priest, if he's an actor, why did he say he needed to go perform services soon? This is a real wedding. Piggy's ultimate trap. But by then, it's too late. He's standing at the altar with Piggy, and she's given her vows already, and he has been prompted to give his, and he stands aghast before he realizes what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Lou Zealand and his boomerang fish, and the horrid little clown man comes in, throws fish around, and ruins everything, and Piggy's plan is foiled. Standout moments here revolve mostly around the extremely tight and hilarious backstage plot, which all builds up to like a great punchline. The sketches, especially in the beginning, aren't much to write home about, except for when Marrisa performs Shel Silverstein's Our House, which is a song from the point of view of a child of a family of ghoulish murderers. And she reveals all the dead bodies in their home, which in the Muppet Show aren't dead. They should be dead. They've been hit in the head with hammers and poisoned and stuff.
That'd be way more disturbing if she opened up the freezer and it was just a dead Muppet flopping out.
I thought a skeleton would pop out and be like, you know, that would have been fun.
That would be
There's
good.
never been a rotting corpse Muppet.
There is in Muppet's Treasure Island.
Yeah, but there hasn't been one yet.
No, not yet.
But I feel like there have been a couple opportunities that they should have had one. Anyway, Marrisa Berenson, as I said, model and actress, who for somebody who I've never heard of before was in a few huge movies, most notably Cabaret and Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. And I think she does Broadway now, I'm pretty sure, but I don't really know. That's all pretty much about her. Do you know who this person is?
I did not, but I also was a big film snob in film school and loved Barry Lyndon. And so you would think I would recognize her, and I didn't.
I think they're all in lots of wigs and stuff in Barry Lyndon, right?
I mean, that is kind of the conceit of the whole thing, is it's very much a period piece.
I never seen that. Is it good?
It's long.
That means it's good, usually.
The big thing about Barry Lyndon is that it's semi-interesting story, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I watched it.
Uh-huh.
But the music is very good, like the score.
Mhm.
And also there was these huge technological advances needed to make that movie where Stanley Kubrick literally took camera lenses from NASA that could film at a low enough f-stop that he could use these cameras to film only with candlelight.
Oh.
And so he took like these NASA camera lenses and put them
cool.
on cameras that like they were not meant for, so that he
Right.
could film purely by candlelight at like a 0.8 f-stop.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a very pretty movie. It's very well done. And when you know the technology behind those candlelit scenes, it's very impressive. But I don't remember it being like a super enthralling film that you'd like put on a Saturday night of like, all right, let's sit down and watch Barry Lyndon.
Finally, January 18th, 1979, a new year, the end of a decade, and the perfect time to reflect on the spirit of human cooperation, diversity, and harmony. And the Muppets, along with very Irish comedian Spike Milligan, are poised to do just that with an international extravaganza, informed by the fact that The Muppet Show was, at the time, airing in approximately 108 countries. I think that the figure is not really known how many, but that was about right. But if they wanted to salute all the countries that the show was appearing in, they did a fairly dubious job of it. The sketches are all quite racist. The backstage plot revolves around various stereotypes hitting each other, and Spike Milligan wears some super questionable outfits. The whole thing ends with a chilling rendition of It's a Small World, with Spike Milligan ending up falling asleep under a blankie with a pillow on stage while everybody's singing around him, which was one part that I think was pretty cute. Stand-up moments include... I don't really know. Sam Eagle is pretty good in this one. He's just trying to keep it all together. He even has like more dignity than usual, and he respects.
Yeah, I feel like he has to balance out Spike
yeah.
Milligan, where it's like, okay, Sam, you're trying real hard. I'm on your side, but it's just not working.
Yeah.
Just pull the plug.
Yeah, he kind of has the Kermit role in this episode, where he's like out on stage trying to like rein everybody in. And there is a version of the Spike Milligan episode that leans more into avant-garde comedy that I think would have been very good, because there's a few glimmers of that, but this ain't it. So, yeah. Spike Milligan, excuse my ignorance here, please, seems like one of those dudes who is big in the more Englishy part of the world, and it doesn't quite translate to the Americas. He had a radio show called The Goon Show, which apparently was fundamental to British comedy. And he also had a puppet show on BBC in the early 60s called Telegoons, which is sort of cool, because I guess him and Jim probably had something to talk about, I guess. And he was, at this time, a few series, which British people call seasons.
Yeah, the other way around.
The other way around. Seasons, which British people call series. Into a surreal BBC sketch show called Q, which was an inspiration to Monty Python, among other things. I tried to figure out what kind of stuff happened in Q, but I think it was too British for Wikipedia to even bother to try summarizing, because it just kind of says, this show existed and some people were on it. And what was happening at the end of 1978, you ask? Well, Jimmy Carter was still president, John Wayne Gacy was arrested, and the movie Superman was released. So, exciting times.
I feel like this is like the second or third time we brought up John Wayne Gacy for some reason.
Well, it keeps bringing him up with the Wikipedia thing I'm looking at.
When you're like, what happened in 1978? John Wayne Gacy again, damn it.
Well, 1979 was a dark time. 1978, 79.
But thankfully, we have the Gilda Radner episode to save us from these dark times.
Not dark at all. Well, I guess it's kind of dark in a way if you ended up stuck to everyone around you with no hope to escape.
Well, and you also have the Muppet melodrama where Miss Piggy dies, so there's some darkness in this episode.
Rest in peace, Miss Piggy.
Yeah, so this episode aired on December 14th, 1978. I liked it, but didn't love this episode, and I don't really know why. I'm hoping we can kind of explore that as we talk about it. I gave it 3 stars.
Oh, I gave it 4.5. Mostly because I have a huge crush on Gilda Radner, I think.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I feel like she falls into that Madeline Kahn, Bernadette Peters trifecta.
Oh, baby.
The Sam crushes.
70s funny ladies. Can't get enough of them.
I had that thought while I was watching this episode where I was like, oh, she's very crush worthy. And then also, Sam definitely is going to have a crush on her.
Yeah, big time. She's great. You know what? Okay, this is a weird thing to say. You know what?
Uh-oh.
She gives me big ASMR YouTuber vibes, especially when she's being the old lady at the beginning. I feel like if Gilda Radner existed now, she'd have like 80 million YouTube followers and be like the hugest ASMR channel.
Her
'Cause she'd
voice
be
is like the least ASMR voice ever, though.
Yeah, I've never heard her whisper, and neither of you, so we don't know. But she'd be like the old lady, and she'd be like, "Hey there, Sonny, I got you some cookies," and everybody would be like, "Yes, the new old lady episode just dropped." Does that ring true with you at all?
One, I don't know. I don't even know if I can. I don't watch enough ASMR content to know if she would fit into that
The
world.
real ASMR heads out there will know what I'm talking about. Continue.
But the fact that, like, if she was alive now, she
Yeah.
would just be the old lady she was playing in the beginning. Like, she had.
I
like,
mean, if she was born when we were born or something. If the prime of her career was. But that's a great point. She probably would have had a movie where she was actually old and she'd be like, finally, it's time. I can be that weird old lady that I've always been.
right, because she'd be 76 if she was still alive.
Perfect.
So she could be playing the old lady who she opens up the episode as a
Yeah.
character she would play all the time, called Emily Latella,
Yeah.
who was an elderly woman with a hearing problem who would just mix things up all the time on SNL.
I think she was on a lot of Weekend Update sketches.
Yes, and she would come out and instead of death sentence, she would hear them say deaf sentence.
Yeah.
And that sort of mistake. And
Really?
this episode.
Really crazy stuff in the 70s. But now maybe. I don't know.
We did see her, though, on SNL with a Muppet previously. We saw her hanging out with Scred.
Yes, I wrote a little aside that she's always seemed like the most game to hang out with the Muppets because she has that very nice moment with Scred where he's dressed like the bee and she's like, everybody loves the bees, nobody loves the Muppets, and she's like, yeah, you're right. And then they have like a nice little skit together where it seems like they like each other.
Yeah, and I think you said that in your summary, too, that she fits in so well. And I think she feels like she could just be a cast member on The Muppet Show, like not even a special guest. I feel like she could play Gladys instead of Gladys. Like, you could just get rid of Gladys.
That would be fun.
And have Gilda Radner step in to play Gladys in the
Yeah.
canteen.
She could be the human in a Muppet movie as well. A more
Oh,
modern
yeah.
day Muppet movie. Go on a road trip with those little guys, help them save the theater.
But yeah, I think overall, the things I didn't like about this episode is just that it doesn't really do a lot. I think the two things you highlighted in your summary were
Mhm.
like the carrot parrot dance
Mm-hmm.
and also the closing of the episode, which is all the super glue stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those things are kind of further apart in the episode
Yeah.
than I would like them to be.
It starts off slow. The carrot parrot thing takes up a big chunk of time and isn't like the funniest thing ever.
No, and I think it also works as an opening number. And then there's a lot of stuff in the middle that's just very middling in general as far as like quality goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the super glue stuff happens so late in the episode that I wish it had happened like immediately. Like either like right after the parrot carrot thing, the super glue happens. And so for the rest of the episode, people are glued together or something, because I just feel like it's not enough of the episode to feel like it's fully breaking the episode.
Yeah, and it would have been maybe... There's lots of opportunity to do a veterinarian's hospital where everyone's glued together, and an At the Dance where everyone's glued together, the Pigs in Space where everyone's glued together. Like, it does open the door for lots of playing with that kind of thing. Or even Marvin Suggs, who shows up. Like, I know it's kind of like a reintroduction of him almost or something, but the glue could have figured into that somehow too.
Yeah, and that was like my main complaint, was that it's just,
Yeah.
I wish the glue had been brought in earlier. And the sketches throughout this one, none of them are huge standouts. Like, there's a lot of them. There's the Newsman. There's Rolf and Zoot. There's a UK spot that's real weird. There's Marvin Suggs. There's Melodrama.
I
but,
liked
like,
the UK spot, actually. It was one of my. If you're gonna do a British song or like a variety hall song or something, this was a pretty funny one because the singing hat was a good conceit for a Muppet skit.
Yeah, it just was one of those, again, very, very UK spots that are not my favorite.
Yeah. And the first act, there's a lot of first acts in this set that are kind of baffling and very pig based, but
Lots of pigs being other like people. Like, there's Russian pigs, there's Inuit pigs in this one, and it's just it's not really anything. Like, there's not really like a story. It's just like some pigs are gonna sing a song now, and we made them some fun costumes.
Yeah. I accidentally watched the Spike Milligan episode first, so I
Ooh.
was like burned out on the like Muppets pretending to be different nationalities thing. And when they said going to the North Pole, Inuit pigs, I was like, oh fuck. But then Or they don't mention the pig thing, but then when the skit starts and it's pigs, somehow when it's pigs, it's less like hachi machi and a little bit more like, well, this is not as disgusting as it could be.
I think it's also, we'll talk about this a lot more in the Spike Milligan episode, I assume. When you have like 40-year-old white dudes playing all these different ethnicities, is when it really like is just, indefensible, especially some of the stereotypes that they lean into. But we will talk about that. But yes, the couple of pig opening numbers are just kind of there, and I think that was like, we've talked about how the best episodes are the ones that start off with the star being a part of the opening number, because it really like kicks things off. And I think not having that in this was sort of a bummer. But I think the carrot parrot mishap both leads to a solid number, like a solid classic Muppet Show number between the carrot and Gilda Radner singing together. But it does take a while to get there.
It is, and it's solid, but it's not like mind blowing, really.
I think what helps it is the carrot puppet, the full body Muppet carrot that is here, because it's not like anything we've ever seen really on the Muppet Show. It's also a different performer than we're used to.
Who is it?
It's Peter Friedman, who has done a lot of background Muppets and like additional assisting on Muppets, and is now an actor on Succession.
Who is he?
I have it in my notes.
Oh, I know who he must be. There's only one old guy on the show besides the main old guy.
He plays Frank Vernon.
Yeah.
Who I have not watched Succession, so I don't really know. And I don't really know how this man went from the Muppet Show to Succession. I'm curious about that, but I have not read up enough on his career trajectory to know.
Yeah, I know who this guy is. He looks like he'd be a Muppet guy. I watched the whole first season. Couldn't tell you what it's about. Kind of could. It's about a business.
It's like The Office.
It actually kind of is like The Office. That's not totally off base.
I think it's worth noting this carrot parrot mishap. There's a quote from Jim Henson about it, and just said, "It's a terrible joke, but it's worthy of us."
I mean, he's got to probably know by now that terrible jokes are when they're really their bread and butter, when they're doing their best.
I mean, they have entire characters that are like based around delivering puns and bad jokes, and so they have to have like a line of like, "Is this bad?" Yes, but is it like our kind of bad?
Yeah. Then they keep their terrible pun-based name for 40 years until it's stripped of all meaning.
We will definitely get to that when we're talking about New Zealand later.
Yeah.
And then we got to the Muppet melodrama, which you commented on in your summary that you liked a lot. But I think because I'm only comparing it to the other Muppet melodrama, this one is not as good as that one.
Yeah. It's also the same exact joke.
I like the overall concept that it's Wayne and Uncle Deadly realizing they have something in common, and their friendship grows and it ruins Miss Piggy's life. But the first one is so weird and out there that they're talking about being in the same Boy Scout troop.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's just like, oh, I remember seeing you as a flamenco dancer.
That's a little bit more of a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, like I just, like, I don't know. I didn't have the same sort of bonding that I liked from the first one. And so I liked their friendship and their interest in each other. But I think this one was also a little bit more, you could see it coming because she's hanging on the cliff with her fingers just over the edge, and they start dancing, and you're like, well, I know where this is going. Whereas in the first one, it's just, they get so enthralled with each other that they just walk away and have a conversation and leave her for dead.
I just love Uncle Deadly in this role. And I think it's a great role for Wayne as well. And I think if it had stuck around a little bit longer, those two characters would have been a pair that we saw more often, is my guess. Like they would have shown up in Muppet movies and stuff like that.
Well, that's, I think, what you can do. Like we've talked before about like how, since they got rid of the Wayne and Wanda duo, Link Hogthrob sort of fits that role better of singing these songs where bad things happen to him. So keeping Wayne in this role where he just plays like the dumb fairy tale hero, I think works really well. And so the fact that this is the second and last Muppet melodrama is kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't see why they would do this and not think that it works, or like not have more ideas for it. But
speaking of things I wish they would stop doing, we've got Marvin Suggs and the Muppet Phones.
Shut your mouth. This one, more racism at the end of this one there, but up until then, I was really into it.
Yeah, we've got him playing Witch Doctor, and a stereotypical witch doctor pops in at the end.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the only thing I really like about this is that the witch doctor turns Marvin Suggs into a Muppet Phone, which is disturbing visually.
Yeah.
And also what he deserves.
Maybe that's where all Muppet Phones come from. Maybe there's many Marvin Suggs as well.
I mean, the one comments, I don't know if it's in this one or one of the other ones, he shows up late because he couldn't find parking.
Yeah, I like that. That was this one.
Yeah, and it raised a lot of questions about the Muppetphone's life outside of working for Marvin Suggs.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to know. Okay, so it's nice to know that he doesn't just keep them in a cage, but it's not nice to know that they have their own lives and then he smushes them with a hammer until they die.
They're just stuntmen. Maybe that's what they're
I
like.
guess so.
They're the jackass crew of the Muppet Show.
They're just too sore to keep being Muppetphones. Their bodies give up, and so then they got a fat paycheck from their time as Muppetphones, and then they retire. Now I'm just picturing them like Stuntman Mike in Death Proof, a Muppephone sitting at a bar eating a huge plate of delicious-looking nachos.
Just luring women into his giant mallet room where he smashes them.
Yeah.
I think we also theorized that Muppetphones were shredded to death after they retired. So,
Oh yeah, they're spun into fabric for Miss Piggy's clothing.
Yeah. So they don't always live the best retirement. Then the UK spot with the bird on Nellie's hat. Again, just very UK-y, and I kind of zoned out a little bit. But you liked it.
I thought it was cute. I think like the frame. I really liked the stage of the setting of this one, with Miss Piggy and that other pig standing in the painting of them or the portrait of them. And I thought it was a fun conceit that you can really only do with a puppet. It's like, I think that's another thing I miss a lot about the older stuff is like, it feels like the joke of the Muppets used to be like stuff you can only do with a puppet, or like stuff you would never think of is a puppet, or puppets where they shouldn't be. But now the puppets should be here. It's the Muppet Studio. This is where they belong. So this one feels like maybe like a lady could have had a hat in an old like Tonight Show appearance or something with the bird on it, and the bird would have been saying goofy stuff while she was singing.
Right,
So,
sort of like the Marrisa Berenson episode where her like little scarf becomes a feather boa that like dances away and stuff. Like that feels a little bit more like in line with that idea.
Yes, yeah. So it just felt a little bit more like, oh, they're doing something here. Like they might not even know that they're doing something here, but this harkens back to something for me.
And then we have the kickoff of the super glue part of the episode. Again, I like Gilda Radner being a part of the Muppet Labs sketch. I think it's really cool to bring in a character. It just shows that she can just fold in and interact with all the Muppets.
I like the sympathy that she, like, her and Beaker seemed like they were friends. She, like, loved Beaker, it seemed like.
Yeah, I feel like it's, she knows that Bunsen is mistreating Beaker and is there to sort of be a filter for that. But yeah, it ends up, the plan, I guess, is to test this new super glue by gluing a rope to her head.
And lifting her up with the rope. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
You think that was funny?
Oh, I think it's funny. I'm just like trying to follow like the logic. Like usually there's a little bit more logic in Bunsen Honeydew's inventions or plans of like, oh yeah, edible paper clips for when you get hungry at work. This one is just, I made a really strong glue, and to test it out, I'm going to lift Gilda Radner up to the sky.
Yeah.
He could have lifted anything. He could have lifted a computer, a desk, anything would have been impressive.
He purely works with human test subjects, so.
But the glue gets squeezed by Gilda Radner and just goes everywhere, and so the entire show is now glued to something.
And it's all her fault.
It is. Because she just picked up the bottle and was like, what does this do?
Whoa. She saw what it does, though.
Yeah.
What a fool.
And this is when we get the last mention of Fleet Scribbler as a character, because Kermit is on the phone with Fleet Scribbler, and who's asking about Gilda Radner. And I guess he's writing a report about this week's guest on The Muppet Show. We will not hear or see from Fleet Scribbler again, I believe.
Yeah, this moment with him did kind of make, because the last time we saw him was with that horrible impressionist guy whose name I can't remember.
As Fleet Scribbler, yes, because we saw him in and at the dance, but he wasn't really Fleet Scribbler in that.
But this little part was kind of like, oh, I could see there being like, instead of a talk spot, there could be like a fun little interview where he's being completely obnoxious with the guests. So
yeah, and him being like part of not the Muppet crew, but consistently reporting on them feels right, and he's less of a invasive jerk than he was early on.
He and Miss Piggy could get into some real shenanigans together.
They could be like planting stories about other people on the Muppet Show to try and get them in trouble and
ruin Kermit's life. I liked this. I thought this next one worked really well, the Rolf and Zoot one, because I wasn't sure. Like, part of me was like, they're gonna get stuck to their instruments, but then they didn't for so long that I was like, oh, maybe they're not gonna get stuck to their instruments, which is kind of a bummer. But then they did get stuck to their instruments. So I thought it was like a nice next one where they didn't telegraph it too much.
That's true. It does just feel like, oh, they do these little things from time to time where Rolf just plays a sweet little number and nothing really happens.
Good little subtlety, a bit of rare subtlety from the Muppet Show.
Which is immediately balanced out by the newsman, who is never subtle.
And who never has a huge red chair behind him.
Yeah, and the puppeteering on this isn't bad necessarily.
Uh-huh.
But when it first... so the conceit is that the Muppet Newsman goes to stand up and walk away, but he's glued to his chair. But because he doesn't normally just get up and walk away during these, it looked like the Muppet chair had come to life and was carrying him off, which was
sure.
That would happen on the Muppet Show. His chair could come to life.
Yeah.
So at first I thought the chair had just started to come to life and carry him off and it wasn't connected to the glue. Uh-huh. But then when I realized it was, I was like, oh, so why was he walking away mid-news report?
That's a great point.
I don't know.
It just ruined it for me. I'm knocking a whole star off this episode.
Well, don't worry, because there's a very good moment coming up next, Sam.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Where Gonzo has his eyes glued to the TV.
It's kind of frightening.
Literally, the eyeball is glued to the glass
part.
Yeah, just thinking about the removal of that grossed me out so much, and I'm just imagining somebody accidentally doing that in their real life and how catastrophic it would be.
Oh, you would never recover.
No,
you'd have to get extremely expensive cornea implants or something.
Which I feel like Gonzo's probably had a number of repair
implants,
many.
Gonzo's he's a ship of Theseus type of situation.
He's more machine than man.
Yeah. Am I even really Gonzo anymore? That's what he always is thinking about so hard. He doesn't care what he is in terms of what he looks like. He's like, what am I inside? Whose heart is this?
And then the final number, which is Tap Your Troubles Away. Gilda performing a tap dancing number and throughout getting attached to the stage and the set and the side of the stage and other Muppets. And very good payoff to the Super Glue bit.
She's just so good. This is just Gilda, and there's basically no Muppets involved. It's just her being goofy, which is rare, and usually I would be like, fuck this. But come on, it's Gilda Radner. I'm not going to be like that with her.
Wearing some short shorts.
They didn't have to be any Muppets in this episode, in fact. Yeah, she's wearing short shorts. Great point, Matt.
But yes,
I think I did add half a star when she was tap dancing around, and that's probably why. Now that I think about it,
ooh, those shorts sure earned half a star.
Look at those scrawny legs, Mamma Mia!
Oh, jeez. Oh, Sam.
But this episode really does zip by. I feel like we talked about this one so much faster than we normally do.
And I think that is because the in-between moments between the carrot and the super glue aren't really much of anything. I watched this episode twice because I kind of felt not great about it the first time. I was like, that was fine. Huh. And so I watched it a second time to be like, maybe I missed something or maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. And then, no, it kind of just goes by and happens. And that's why I feel like I like Gilda Radner a lot. The parts where she is there are great. But the stuff in between is just kind of nothing.
To me, it felt like less nothing than we're going to get in the Marrisa Berenson episode even, or a lot of other episodes have way more nothing than this to me. And at least you spend a bulk of the time with the guest star. And it doesn't ever feel like it does feel like it's spinning its wheels, but you don't realize it's spinning its wheels until the episode's done. And you look back and be like, hey, wait a minute. The whole first 20 minutes of this episode was nothing.
And that's, I think, where, I think because we have to watch these things with a critical eye for this podcast, and because I have been watching so many other Muppet Show episodes, I think I thought of it more that way. But I think you're right. If I had just seen this on a Monday night or whatever on TV, I'd be like, that was great. That was very enjoyable.
And you're
time.
never going to see it again because it's the 70s and it's impossible.
Yeah. So yes, I think I'll keep it at the 3 stars from me just because of the nothingness that I felt about some of the sketches. But I think you're right in that it is definitely not a bad episode by any means. But moving on December 21st, 1978, we have the Marrisa Berenson episode of The Muppet Show. This is the last of our pre-Muppet movie episodes that they're producing.
Oh.
So, production order versus what we're watching order is very weird. But all of the episodes that they filmed before they went off to film the Muppet movie, we are now complete with all of those.
Have we watched ones from when they got back from that?
Spike Milligan is our first.
Oh.
which is not promising.
They were tired. Maybe they were tired.
The Helen Reddy episode was actually the last one they filmed before going off to film the Muppet movie.
Huh.
And that was in May 1978. And when they came back in November 1978, they filmed the Harry Belafonte episode, which we'll talk about in the future. So yeah, we are done with the first half of 1978 production-wise.
Okay.
And I found this note that Jim Henson put in his journal about Marrisa Berenson, saying that she was almost an ideal guest to me. She's not normally in this area of show business, yet she did a lovely job. A pleasure to work with.
That's very interesting.
I'm guessing you disagree?
Well, she's just kind of like, she's not kind of just like there, but she doesn't stand out necessarily. The things she does could be almost anybody else, I think.
I do agree. I think I actually gave this episode 4 stars. I liked
did
it a
as
lot.
well. I gave it 2 up until the last half of the show, and I started adding stars in.
Yeah, the last half is super solid, especially when she starts singing about murdering people.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But I think you're right in that this could have been Gilda Radner, Cheryl Ladd, whoever.
Yeah.
Like, I think the material she was given is really strong, and she does a good job with it.
Yeah.
But she doesn't necessarily bring a lot of her personality to the parts she's playing.
Yeah.
And so
I feel
yeah.
like sometimes you can tell when people watch the Muppet Show and when people don't watch the Muppet Show. Like, I think Gilda Radner has at least watched some of the Muppet Show. I don't think Marrisa Berenson had ever seen the Muppet Show, is my guess. It just feels like she's like figuring it out as she goes. Like, who is this little orange fellow?
Yeah, that one you can sometimes. This is a very weirdly specific nerdy thing. There's a certain way that people will say the Muppets' names.
Yeah.
And they're like, Scooter. And they're like, oh, that's the first time you've ever thought about saying the name Scooter. And you were told 2 minutes ago, hey, this guy's name is
This
Scooter.
is Scooter. Yeah. Maybe you had another take where you forgot his name. Called him Skipper or something. And you're like, Scooter. Got it that time.
Got it. I got it, right? Yes. Okay, moving on. But this episode opens up with the other one of the pigs in random costumes thing that we're doing here, apparently now, which is Russian pigs performing, I think, an original number called Red Pigs Dance.
It would be weird if it wasn't an original
Yes,
number.
fair. But I thought it was one of those things because on Muppet Wiki it just says performing Red Pigs Dance. And I was like, oh, is Red Pigs Dance like a thing that existed? And they were just like, well, obviously what we have to do here is communist pigs.
This will be a funny joke. Right?
Yeah. That is not the case. It seems like they had the idea for Russian pigs and then made music to go with it. But as much as, the concept is kind of not much to go on, the puppeteering in this sketch was interesting because there's a thing at the very beginning where there's like a line of pigs marching towards the camera and they're walking in 2 by 2. And if you look, there's only like 3 sets of pigs or 3 or 4. But what keeps happening is the ones who walk past the camera in the front then duck out of frame and then join the end of the line.
Uh-huh.
And so you get to see like 16 pigs walk in. And if you're not paying close attention, you don't realize that that's actually only like 4 or 5, 6 different pigs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that. That was a good effect. Then I've completely zoned out the rest of the act, and I actually don't know what happened at the end of it.
It's mostly just a lot of jumping and spinning around. There's one pig who they're clearly just got like a rod shoved up his leg, and he's like higher spinning up above all the other pigs and for some reason. And that's kind of it. That's honestly, they're just dancing around to some Russian music.
How did they end up with so many pig puppets? Was it a conscious effort, or were they like, we need a pig puppet, and they forgot they already had one? And then
maybe they came up with that idea of the pigs taking over the show episode, and they were like, oh, shit, now we have so many pigs.
We build a lot of pigs. Because we have had a lot of acts of pigs playing people of different nationalities as the first act, because there's been Spain, there's been Greece. I'm sure there have been other ones, too.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like their go-to neutral character is a pig.
But also somebody in the writer's room is like, wouldn't it be funny if the pigs did the Mexican hat dance? And everybody's like, I guess. I don't know.
What's the joke? Oh, there is no joke. That's
the joke is it'll take 3 minutes of our episode, so then we can figure out other stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting in this batch that we don't have a pigs in space. We don't have a veterinarian's hospital. We don't have any Swedish chef, I don't think.
He shows up in the kitchen, but he doesn't actually have a skit.
Right, he's making the wedding cake in this episode, and he shows up in the international extravaganza in the Spike Milligan episode. But we're missing a lot of our standard go-to sketches in this batch. Not that they would have, saved like the Spike Milligan one or anything like that. And I don't
No.
think they're missed in the other episodes, but it's just odd to go so long sometimes without seeing a Pigs in Space, while still feeling like it's a big part of the Muppet Show.
Well, we got a lot of plot-heavy episodes in this one, I feel like. So...
Yeah, and that
maybe
starts
not as much
right now, where we've got the Miss Piggy introducing the wedding sketch, and also the world being introduced to New Zealand.
Oh, no. Please say it isn't so.
I will say it is so, and I will say he is our Muppet of the Week, so we'll be talking about him a lot more later. But one interesting note that I had while watching this episode is that if this was the only time New Zealand ever appeared, I think I might love him.
Yeah, I agree. This is this is maybe the funniest punchline to any backstage plot, I would say. And he is so perfect for like what they need him for. Like they formulated the perfect character to be the punchline for this, and he fits in perfectly, and he's so annoying, and I love that they know that he's annoying and acknowledge that, and they all hate him. But it kind of seems like Kermit owes him a favor now, and he's just like, I guess you can stick around. You saved my ass back there.
Yeah, and that's the vibe we get in like the Muppet movie even, which is like only a few months after they make this episode. He's still that same annoying guy who wants to throw his fish around.
Yeah.
And in looking into New Zealand, the plan was for him to just appear in this episode.
Yeah, that makes sense because he's made out of that whatnot puppet we've seen a million times, right?
Yeah, and so they made him as just a one-off character, and they were like, "Well, this guy's sticking around for 50
he does
years."
He does have a great look, I think.
Very distinct, but dear God, is he a one-note joke that never goes away?
Yeah, and they already got Marvin Suggs, and he's already bad enough.
Yeah, thankfully he kind of goes away.
Yeah, well, it's one man's opinion.
But we have Marrisa Berenson dancing with some feather boas, or rather, the feather boas are doing a lot of the dancing, and she's just kind of there.
Yeah, but you know what else, Matt? You missed
what?
The most
what did I miss?
important Gonzo moment of all time. The moment that I saw that made me think, I get Gonzo now.
I'm remembering now, because he introduces this act because Kermit is too busy dealing with Miss Piggy trying to trick him into a wedding. So Gonzo comes out and is like, hey, Kermit's a little tied up at the moment, so I'm here to introduce Marrisa Berenson.
Yep, and for some reason,
if I'm remembering correctly, that's all Gonzo does in this episode.
Yeah, but it's the most important thing Gonzo's ever done. Do you want to know why? Okay, I wrote a whole thing about this.
Oh, you have like a dissertation about Gonzo's importance?
So many Muppets are driven by their demons. Piggy is motivated entirely by vanity. Fozzie just wants to be loved. Scooter is a craving, greedy rat. And when Kermit isn't on a power trip, he's getting off by playing the victim. And Gonzo, it would be easy to say that Gonzo's entire motivation is that he wants things to be as weird as possible. But when I saw him introduce Marrisa Berenson in this episode that he just did, that's when my epiphany occurred. My brain chemistry shifted entirely. Gonzo, without being told, read the situation Kermit was in and introduced the guests in a calm, collected way that moved the show forward. Fozzie would have been a nervous wreck. Piggy would have made it all about her. But Gonzo, he knows when to turn it off. And that's what makes him different than every other Muppet. The hypothetical example that I think illustrates this best that I thought up in the shower is if you were at a party and the Muppets were real, Kermit would maybe be a little abrasive, standoffish, kind of judgy and bossy at the same time. Fozzie would crack weak jokes and not let you get past his shell. Rizzo would just keep talking about the snacks, and Peppy would be trying to have sex with you. But Gonzo, I couldn't tell you what Gonzo would want to talk about at a party. And since he is also the only Muppet who seems capable of constructive introspection, he might even ask you questions about yourself. Plus, the fact that he's a performance artist maybe wouldn't even come up, which finally starts to bring me to my point. In real life, if you talk to an artist or a lawyer or whatever, it's kind of fun to hear about their jobs for a little while. But if that's all they talk about, that person is boring. You don't want to talk to them after the first time at a party that you're stuck in a corner talking to them. And most Muppets, I would argue almost every single Muppet, would only talk about their jobs or like their thing, except Gonzo. He would probably mention it, but he could also read the room and turn it off like he did earlier. He can be whatever he needs to be in the situation. He has a whole variety of interests, and they might be weird, but number one, he doesn't shove them down your throat. And number two, lots of people have weird interests, like being into weird bands or like weird comedians, and maybe they'll clue you into something that you love. Being weird is normal and fun. So Gonzo's big thing is that he feels like the weirdest Muppet, and in a way that's true, because he's surrounded by single-minded, boring people that he can't always relate to. He doesn't have, like, a thing that has crystallized in his entire personality. But being weird for a Muppet actually makes him normal for a person. And that's why we've all loved him for decades, why he can anchor projects, and why, though I'm sort of loath to admit it, he's the best Muppet. The end.
Wow.
Oh, I do have a postscript, though.
Oh, bring it on.
I actually think a lot of this applies to Rolf, too. I think Rolf and Gonzo are both the acquaintance that you know them for a couple years, and then you find out that they're in a band, and you go see them in their band, and you're like, holy shit, they're good. Why did they never mention that they were in a band? And it's because they're, like, introspective people who are maybe, they just, like, they have their art, and they have their lives, and they don't mix the two, and they know how to make friends and talk to people. The end, officially now.
I like you coming around on Gonzo and seeing what a lot of us have been seeing for a while here. I think
He makes sense to me now.
you've thought about it way more than I did. I was just like, I like when he's sad.
But when he's sad is important because that's no other Muppet thinks about themselves. Kermit just feels sorry for himself. Fozzie only thinks about himself, but Gonzo does the whole thing. And for some reason, this moment when he's like, here's the next act, and he doesn't try to, like, do anything stupid, was what made me think, okay, I get it now. He's the most human. He is us.
If you're ever asked to give a TED Talk, you already have it written.
I do have it written already.
Sam Schultz on why
Right.
Gonzo is the best Muppet.
So that's my Muppet, my Gonzo Epiphany, based entirely on this part before this sketch that I hated.
Yes, this is the Feather Boa sketch where Feather Boas are just dancing around or near Marrisa Berenson, who has to kind of stay out of the way because it's kind of a green screen effect type of
And
thing.
there's a bunch of guys in black suits back there who are going, woo, woo.
Yeah. But that, yes, 100% agree with your Gonzo take. Especially I like the idea of them at parties and who each of these people would be at parties because, that is something I keep thinking about more and more is who are these people, characters, like outside of what we see. And also always that concept of none of them being very good at their jobs or what they claim to be good at. Because, I mean, even in this episode, we have the Swedish chef making a wedding cake with onions. Like, what are you doing?
Why would you do it?
There's not even like a joke there. You just decided to like
To
put
ruin a
onions in
cake.
a wedding cake.
Even a Swedish person would be like, we don't do that.
Yeah, that's
We
not a
do
thing
all the
you
other
do.
stuff you do, but we don't do that.
Maybe like fish, like anchovies or something like that in
Yeah.
the cake. But
We
onions,
put a big
why?
fish in the middle of the cake.
And I also, on top of that, like everyone else being exposed as frauds for, Sam not being as cultured as he claims he is, Piggy not actually knowing French. I like the when the layers are peeled back, much like a wedding cake onion, to show that the Muppets are not always. A lot of them are like putting on a front. Of, like, I need you to believe I am this person, whereas Gonzo is just laid bare. This is who I am.
Yeah.
Love me or don't. Me and my chicken will leave if you don't like us.
And he's not a fraud. He is a performance artist because there's no way to be a fraud performance artist, really. Like, especially if you're putting your body on the line.
When he's maybe the most like weirdly introspective and sad, but also the most confident because he believes that every one of his acts has gone off pretty much without a hitch. No matter what ends up happening, if he's crushed by a 5,000-pound weight or crushed by a piano or crushed by something else, that's exactly what he wanted to happen. Or at least he can look at it as if, well, that's better than what I had planned.
And you know what? He's also not delusional enough to not realize that everyone hates his acts.
Yeah, but he also doesn't care. He's also just like, I know no one likes this, but I enjoy it.
This is what I do, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Gonzo's
I love
great.
Gonzo now.
Good. Glad to have you on board.
You win, everybody else.
We get to meet another new Muppet in this episode. Louis Kazagger.
The Muppet I maybe understand the least.
What do you mean?
What is he? Why is he
He's
look
Howard
like that?
Cosell.
But why does he look like that?
I think Howard Cosell maybe had a bigger nose. I don't really know much about Howard Cosell.
Is
other
he a
than
mole? Is he a bug of some sort? What's wrong with him?
Maybe he's a Gonzo relative. He's got a similar beak structure.
Yeah, if you're gonna give Gonzo a hard time, you got to give Louis Kazagger a hard time until he says what he is.
But yeah, it's interesting that this is just basically Howard Cosell. Like it's also, they don't do a lot of just celebrity parody Muppets. Like they do that on Sesame Street a lot, where they'll have parody Muppets that like parents are like, look, it's like that person. But this is their first sort of parody Muppet on the Muppet Show.
Oh, he's got Howard Cosell hair. I've never seen Howard Cosell before. This is
I know
making
Howard
more
Cosell for
sense
like
now.
the impressions of him more than anything. Like in the movie
Mhm.
Better Off Dead, there's a character who like just talks as Howard Cosell throughout the whole movie. But in this, Louis Kazagger is covering the wig race for Muppet Sports, which is a thing I think we will get more of in the future.
Yeah.
Mostly like all they're featuring Louis Kazagger introducing these weird Muppet Sports. I don't. There's not a lot to this wig race, but I think the visual is very funny and weird and good.
I agree. I just don't like Louis Kazagger. So when I saw him, I was kind of like, oh boy, this guy.
Yeah.
you
We
know?
got 2 new Lou's in this episode.
Oh, that's true. And that other Muppet has teeth, which is alarming.
Yeah, the guy who's running the wig race or whatever has human teeth just on the bottom of his mouth, and I
Yeah.
hate it. And he looks like he was like a Muppet created to be a dentist or something. And they were just like,
Yeah.
well, I guess reuse that puppet in something because he's got like this white coat on and human teeth.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, you're right.
So he looks like a dentist to me.
The
but
axe to dentist act.
yeah, between the wigs jumping off of their respective podiums and this man's human teeth, it's a little concerning and weird. But I do like his joke that Louis Kazagger asked him about using shampoo on the wigs.
Oh, yeah.
And he's
I
like,
that too.
I don't use shampoo. I only use real poo. Which is
The wigs are covered in
incredibly gross.
feces. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we have a very, very sweet UK spot of Robin the Frog singing Someone to Watch Over Me with Ralph on piano.
Mhm.
And that's it.
That's
just
pretty
sweet.
much it. Nothing happens. Nothing eats them. Nothing blows up. They're just being cute back there.
Yeah. Which is perfect for a UK spot. And also
Yeah.
a nice little moment of rest in the middle of an episode.
Then he has to go put on his little outfit to go to Kermit's wedding.
But first, we have some other things before the wedding. We have Marrisa Berenson helping Piggy get dressed in the dressing room, where Marrisa is slowly realizing that, like, this wedding seems a little more real than just
Yeah.
the sketch you're talking about.
This is when I made it a 3-star because I thought this was a really charming little scene between the two of them.
There's also a great moment of puppetry in here where Marrisa is trying to help Piggy tie her corset really tightly and is like got her
Mhm.
foot up against her back and is pulling it really tightly.
It looks so
And then Scooter comes in and tells Marrisa she needs to get ready and go. And so she hands the reins, for lack of a better term, like over to Scooter, and Scooter and Piggy just shoot out the the side of the
There's
the
no way
shot.
Scooter's as strong as an adult human woman.
No.
He's a little guy. Yeah, that was like a how did they do that moment for me, definitely.
Yeah, there's sometimes where it's like obviously they can just like move their arms faster than you can run kind of thing. But it's always
Yeah.
impressive of like, okay, so there's 2 human men down there who both
Uh-huh.
knew exactly when to take off. And like maybe
Yeah.
like they tap each other or like poke each other in the back, like, go now. And so I'm
Yeah,
not really
maybe
sure
so.
what it is. And I know pretty soon we'll be starting to get into some behind the scenes footage we'll be able to watch
Oh,
in a
cool.
60 Minutes piece, I
Mhm.
think in a couple weeks. But yeah, it's always nice to see more and more behind the scenes of the Muppet Show to understand how these things are actually pulled off.
Yeah.
And speaking of a little behind the scenes, this next bit I think is very funny, but also I liked a lot because it's some Muppets just singing Do Re Mi, and everything goes wrong. But what I liked is the collection of characters they have highlights all of their main Muppet performers that are there right now.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting too. If not a little confusing in one particular instance.
Well, yeah, you have Jim Henson playing Kermit, you have Frank Oz playing Fozzie, Dave Goelz is there as Beauregard, Richard Hunt is there as Scooter, Jerry Nelson is there as Robin, Louise Gold is there as Annie Sue, and you have Steve Whitmire here as a weird green guy who's apparently a salamander just because later on in season 5, that puppet will be made into a salamander.
Repurposed into a salamander.
But
I
for
don't
now-
think he's supposed to be a salamander.
For now, he's just a green whatnot guy with sunglasses and a leopard print shirt.
Yeah. Which is so incongruous with the like very 70s styling of the rest of the show.
Well, it's also like we know all these characters. We have interacted with all of them already. We know these people. And then there's just this guy here who's the new guy because he sounds like Rizzo. It's clearly Steve Whitmire immediately.
And he looks fucking weird.
Yeah, and you're like, who invited this guy to this performance?
Yeah, they could have given him like Droop or that lizard or Lenny Lizard or something. Because I found that almost so distracting that I was like, it was hard for me to pay attention to the beginning of this sketch because I was like, is this guy going to do something weird or what? but then
Yeah, he definitely is noticeable.
he's the most normal one.
He's immediately a little distracting.
Yeah.
It's just like, that is not a guy I have ever seen before.
Yeah.
Is he the like sort of the problem one? Is he the one who's going to mess up the song? And no, it's actually Fozzie who's mostly messing up the song because he can't remember the words to Do Re Mi.
Yeah, which are really easy. And also Beauregard is too stupid to blame for it, really.
Well, and everyone starts to run with it as soon as it starts to go off the tracks.
It's because they're professionals,
everyone,
baby.
yeah,
You
they know
gotta
what to
keep
do.
it going.
Yes, and
Yeah. It's just a bunch of like non-actors too. And then Annie Sue. So I don't know what Kermit really expected. And Fozzie, I guess. Fozzie should have known better.
yeah, but he did invite the janitor, his nephew, and the stagehand to help with
Yeah. And some
with this
guy
job.
that he looked outside and said, "Hey, you, get in here."
Hey, you selling watches in the alley, come here.
I do wonder, it made me wonder if this character was like, this is going to be my big break character, you know? But it feels
Maybe.
like he's trying so hard to make it happen.
Yeah, I think they haven't obviously landed on like Steve Whitmire having a main character at this
Yeah.
point yet. And maybe they're just trying some out and seeing what sticks.
Hmm. I don't know how you hear that guy's voice and don't think rat immediately, though.
Well, especially when you have rat puppets just laying around. And then we get to the moment that sealed this as a 4-star episode for Sam, I believe.
Mhm.
We get Marrisa Berenson singing "You're Always Welcome at Our House" in what at first I thought was going to be a creepy little girl
Oh
thing.
my gosh, I was girding myself for
Yeah.
creepiness, but
Because they
They
dress
knew
her
that.
up in this little girl, like, doll outfit and this, like, little dollhouse. And
singing in a baby voice.
yeah, I did not feel comfortable about the beginning of the sketch. But then as it starts to be revealed that, oh, she's a murderous little girl, this is very good. Yeah. Because she hits a man with a hammer. She puts a woman in the freezer. And then
Her and her parents, not just her.
But no, this is the perfect level of, I think, plot twist. This is super dark. You didn't expect this kind of thing.
Maybe one of the darkest things we've ever seen out of the Muppet Show.
She is just singing about murdering people for no good reason. It's not like
Uh-huh.
this person wronged me and so I killed them. This is just a little boy came into the yard to get his ball and I tied him up and put him in the basement until he
Yeah.
died.
It gave me like Tales from the Crypt, kind of like creepy crawlies.
Well, and then at the end, there's a close up and she's got fangs.
Yeah, that was cool. Her teeth
Yeah.
painted into fangs, which you can see very clearly in HD. But I'm sure back in the 70s, you were like, whoa, how'd they do that?
Yeah, but it's no, I think that's for me the sort of the same of like that was what sort of sealed this episode as a very, very good episode overall.
Yeah. And the part where she's like really like, this is like, oh, she's cool actually. She couldn't just be anybody. Like this is kind of a fun thing that she's got like the right combo of like weird elegance and like weird like baby voice to pull this off better than other people could.
Yeah, she sort of got that level of inherent respect that you would give her just based on her normal like classy talking voice and the way she
Yes.
carries herself.
I thought
And
she was
so-
British until Matt set me straight.
Nope, just got that fancy Frasier voice.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's nice to see a different side of a guest
Mhm.
than you would expect to see because so many people do come in and just kind of like do their thing.
Do
I
their
think we'll talk
shtick,
about this in
yeah.
the next episode. And just kind of are more contentious with the plot of the show and are just like, I know what I do and I'm going to keep on doing it. And
Yeah.
she's just like, whatever you want me to do, I can play this role of the murderous little girl. And then we actually get to the moment where the Swedish chef has baked the onions into the wedding cake.
Mhm.
But we can't move on to the wedding sketch before Gladys cracks another joke at Piggy's expense.
Yeah. The only one really still stuck on this piggy thing.
Yeah, they're like, we got to fire Gladys. She does not.
Yeah.
She was not here when we sent out the memo about, hey,
Yeah.
maybe cut back on the piggy jokes because, Swedish Chef is also a part of this as well. He puts the cake toppers on top of the cake, which is got a little Kermit one there. He puts Miss Piggy on, and apparently even Miss Piggy's cake topper is so overweight that it destroys the cake beneath it. Muppet Wiki had a nice little note about those, that they were apparently actually toys you could buy at the time. Like they didn't want to sculpt new like Muppets for the cake toppers. They just bought a Kermit pencil topper and a little figure of Miss Piggy and repainted them for the wedding.
That would be fun. That would be like so convenient if you had merch of your show. You could be like, so many free props now.
Yeah.
I did like Gladys. There was like a nice moment between Gladys and the Swedish chef where she's like appreciating how beautiful his wedding cake is. I kind of thought that was nice. She's like got a little bit of respect for this weirdo that nobody else really likes that much.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that they're coworkers and they're getting along
Mhm.
well. I think that works as a duo. Not like we're not going to get it for very long, but I think
I
for
just
now
wish she
it
didn't
works.
look like that.
I don't mind her. Like I like how strange she is. I just I don't know. I feel like if they were trying to make her part of the like on stage Muppet Show troupe,
Yeah.
I think her look wouldn't work as well. But
That's
because
true.
she's the weird lunch lady, essentially,
She's just stuck as a lunch lady, yeah.
yeah, I think it works. And then it's time for a wedding, Sam. Kermit has been tricked into signing the marriage license. The real priest is here. Piggy and Kermit have their full sides filled out.
I guess
of their
they're
guests.
families? Is that their families?
I guess there's a bunch of pigs that we've never really seen before, and Annie
Yeah.
Sue on Miss Piggy's side. And then on Kermit's side, it's a bunch of frogs and Fozzie.
And Robin.
Oh, Robin's there too, yeah.
Yeah, in his little frog scat outfit. And he doesn't seem to be like, what's going on here? So I bet that's like Kermit's brother and sister and stuff.
And Kermit, for some reason, is not concerned about the fact that his real family is here.
Kermit's extremely concerned at this point.
Well, concerned, yes, but does not stop the show, which he has complete
Yeah.
power to do.
That's true.
Rolf is there playing the organ, which makes a lot of sense that he would be in that role.
I love that they're all in on this with them. Like Scooter has just tricked him into signing the marriage certificate. I thought that was a nice little touch.
Yeah, no one is trying to stop this wedding
Yeah.
that they all know is a real wedding besides Kermit.
Yeah.
But for some reason, yeah, they're all on board. But as Sam mentioned earlier, the wedding does not go the way weddings are supposed to. Piggy says her I do, and that's when Kermit chooses to introduce New Zealand and his boomerang fish act. In what I think, yes, we again alluded to this earlier. Perfect use of New
So
Zealand.
funny.
Perfect one-time joke. Never need to bring him back. And also a perfect end to a Muppet Show episode of having just that out, which is something that they do a couple times, I think, on the ABC Muppet series as well, and even maybe Muppets Tonight, where this becomes a little bit more of a, not cliche, but like a running gag that they'll have something ready to go when there's an awkward moment of just like, interrupt, please.
Right. It was very whiplashy to have a feeling of affection for New Zealand, but it really is like pure delight when Kermit's like so desperate that he does that. And you kind of have forgotten about New Zealand at that point to some degree. And it's like, yes, this was great.
Weirdly, also, we talked about production order a little bit earlier and how things are done out of order. This is actually the first production order episode that features Beauregard as well.
Oh.
So Beauregard, New Zealand, and Louis Kazager were all like made for this episode.
Wow. The hits just keep on coming, huh? Exciting.
Well, especially like the fact that Beauregard was just part of this choir was his first debut performance is very odd.
Where you kind of have to know he's dumb for part of it to work a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, we have not seen or met this man before, and now we're just like, okay, so he's messing up a song. So I guess, yeah, like he and the Salamander Man would be on equal footing in production order.
Yeah. And Beauregard was like, this is my big chance. And he blew it. And they were like, you can be the janitor, but you are never allowed on stage again. We'll see about that, is what he said to himself.
Before we get into talking about the last episode in our batch this week, I got a couple notes here of things that Jim Henson was up to in late 1978. On December 21st, 1978, he went with Joe Raposo to the White House, where he and Joe Raposo were invited to perform for a children's party. I think one of the Carter's kids or something. And so, yeah, I mean, one would have to believe they performed Being Green, but I don't really know what else. Like,
wasn't that the second time he'd been to the White House that year?
yes. I think he is at the White House earlier. Jimmy Carter, apparently just big Jim Henson stan.
Not really that surprising.
No, yeah. But, yeah, so he did that. And then also on Christmas Day, 1978, there was supposed to be a Time magazine cover story about the Muppets. They did this huge, like, 6-page spread about Jim Henson and the Muppets, took these photos for the cover, and it was going to be the first time that there would have been a Time cover for the Muppets since 1970 when Big Bird was featured on the cover.
Huh.
But then Jim Henson's pal, Jimmy Carter, went and struck a deal with China to establish normal diplomatic relations, and Time was like, well, that's maybe a little bit more important.
Bump you, Jim.
Yeah,
Too
so
bad.
if you go look at that Time cover now, it's a big story about Jimmy Carter and China, and up in the top right corner, there's a little picture of Kermit.
They still ran the story.
Yes, the
He just
story is
didn't
still
get
in
the
there.
cover. Uh-huh.
And Jim's journal entry for that date says, "I don't appear on cover of Time, but big spread." So I think
Sour
he felt.
grapes, Jimmy.
I mean, that's fair. If you thought you were getting this huge,
That's
big
true.
cover story on Time magazine, and then they're like, "Nope, sorry, we're not even just going to bump it a month. You're not on the cover anymore. Not an option."
Yeah, and you probably went and did like a big photo shoot and stuff too.
Yeah,
to
there's some.
save
If you
your
go look on
time.
Muppet Wiki, there are some photos, or at least on Jim's Red Book, I think there are some photos of that shoot of what was supposed to be the cover of Time magazine with Jim Henson surrounded by a bunch of Muppets. And yeah, around that time as well, he flew to Germany to go accept some television award because the Muppet Show was doing well in Germany. There's some small entries on Jim's Red Book about his trip to Germany that aren't all that entirely interesting, but it just shows that he was traveling around. He went and hung out with some other puppeteers in Germany for a little bit before coming back in early January to keep producing season 3 of The Muppet Show. And speaking of those episodes produced around that time, we have the Spike Milligan episode of The Muppet Show. This episode aired on January 18th, 1979. I put that I might give this episode 0 stars, but I don't know that I allow 0 stars on my 5-star scale system, so I gave it 1.
I gave it 2, and I can remember the 2 moments that made me give it 2.
There are a couple standout moments that definitely stand out because everything else around it is very bad.
Yeah.
Worth noting, this episode starts off with an extremely necessary stereotype warning on Disney+. And in Europe, this episode is not even included on Disney+.
It started a war, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you know what? Maybe Nazi salutes aren't great for kids.
Yeah.
During It's a Small World on The Muppet Show, out of context, is a very weird place to give a Nazi salute.
Yeah, where I guess the implication is this boils down the entire German people.
Yes, precisely. It's like when he dresses up in the very cliche Chinese outfit with his Fu Manchu mustache and buck teeth that he puts on, and his Native American headdress that he comes out wearing at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give Spike Milligan the benefit of the doubt that maybe he was doing a Roman wave.
No.
Or, yeah, so there's
Nor would he expect you to. He did what he did, and I don't know. It just was an episode of The Muppet Show, which makes it a little different.
Yeah, this episode has a couple highlights that I will point out, but overall, there is a lot of stereotyping of many different races.
Yeah.
That is just, overall, this episode is, I think, my least favorite episode we've ever watched, and probably the episode I will never rewatch.
I don't think it's my least favorite episode, just based entirely on the production quality of the episode, and we've watched some crummy episodes, but I will not watch this one over again either.
I think there's just nothing really redeeming for me about Spike Milligan, outside, if you can even just watch the non-racist parts of this episode, just his comedy is not for me at all.
I agree with that totally.
When it's just speaking Cockney gibberish and all that, I'm just who is this for?
Yeah.
But let's not dwell too much on the awfulness. The opening joke I thought was pretty good. In the cold open, Spike Milligan makes a joke about his coat of arms, his family crest. And there's a very creepy coat of arms that he is wearing, which is a big old trench coat with what must be 3 or 4 different puppeteers standing behind his body with their arms shoved through his coat.
He's got 12 arms, or he might even have an odd number of arms.
Yeah. And then during the opening theme, we get to see our old friend, the Beautiful Day Monster.
Yeah, he hasn't been around for a long time.
No, but he comes in and dribbles Gonzo while he's trying to play his horn.
Yeah.
And he just comes in like a big old bully. He'd just be like, hey, Gonzo.
Up to his old tricks.
Yeah. But very quickly.
Tanks pretty fast.
Yeah. One, you get the stereotype warning at the beginning and you're already like, uh-oh, something bad's going to be in this episode.
Yeah.
And then Kermit introduces this saying he's going to have an international extravaganza that's a tribute to all countries. And I was like, this is not going to go well. Which is immediately verified because he introduces a tribute to the land of the rising sun. And so we get a bunch of Japanese stereotypes crammed into one sketch, including some samurais, some mixing up of L's and R's in speech, and switching Oklahoma to Yokohama.
And some things that are Chinese that they are just confused about, I believe.
confused or didn't care to do research.
Probably didn't care to do research. You know what they could have done, and what Jim would have had in his soul, I believe, is they could have done an episode that featured puppetry from around the world. Wouldn't have been funny, but would have been a thing. Would have been an actually nice way to be like, hey, thanks for putting us in 108 countries.
Yes, maybe working with some people actually from these countries would have been helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we get Fozzie. So the problem, aside from the obvious racial issues with this sketch, it's also not even funny. Like, I don't know how you could even defend this sketch if you can overlook the racist parts. It's just Fozzie coming in and being confused and singing Oklahoma and then getting in a fight with the samurais.
Yeah, and it's basically just like an arrangement of Oklahoma with some kind of like stereotypical music. And that's the whole joke, I guess?
Yeah, and I don't get it. Like, I don't get what the joke is supposed to be, or I guess Oklahoma and Yokohama kind of sound alike. And maybe that was the entire thing, is people were trying to think of like, okay, what are some Japanese things? Well, there's a city called Yokohama. I guess that kind of sounds like Oklahoma. All right, Oklahoma, Yokohama sketch, go. But yeah, then it continues on into the backstage where we just see a bunch of other Muppets from different countries. For some reason, the Australians are on the ceiling. Don't necessarily understand if that's a joke or not, or if just we don't have enough room for all these Muppets, and so we have to store some on the ceiling.
Yeah, I guess Australians live on the bottom side of the world. Is that what they were going for?
That's what I was also, I was wondering if that was, if that was the joke, or if that was...
Not particularly clear.
No. I think another problem with obviously, trying to break down these ethnicities down to one puppet representation.
Muppet,
Yes, is that they're not only like in some cases creating Muppets that look very like cartoon stereotypy, but they're also taking Muppets that have traditionally been white Muppets, like a Jim Henson or a Jerry Nelson country trio Muppet, and repurposing it and just being like, oh no, now it's this, or now it's this, or now it's this. And it's like, that's weirder, I think. It's like there's like degrees of weirdness and racism throughout these things that I'm just like, I'm not the one to make the call on what is and what is not offensive to some people, but it's weirder when you're just like, okay, so we're going to take this traditionally white Jim Henson Muppet, have a different person perform it as a different race. That'll be fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like a degree of thoughtlessness and like laziness, I suppose. It's just like no effort put into any of this episode, I feel like.
Yeah. Speaking of, next we have Sam the Eagle in his first sort of try at saving this episode. Comes out to talk about American-British relations and is going to have a proper English gentleman come out to help him with that. But instead we get Spike Milligan.
Would have been funny if the whole episode had been about they think he's a proper English gentleman and he's completely insane, maybe. But also this is like not funny to me as an American man in 2022.
I put in my notes, more very unfunny stuff.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the summary of this, is just Spike Milligan doing his Spike Milligan thing, doing a Groucho impression, speaking nonsense Cockney accent stuff, and then dropping his pants to reveal his Union Jack boxers. But then we find out that apparently, Waldorf is Lithuanian, which we find out because he drops his pants.
And got Lithuanian underwear on, I guess.
Apparently, it took me a while to figure out that joke because I thought there was something about his genitals that made him Lithuanian.
It was maybe some kind of circumcision-related thing as well.
I thought so too, but then realizing like, oh, okay, this is like the Union Jack boxers, the American flag boxers. He must be wearing a Lithuanian flag boxers, so Statler can recognize that. Thankfully, it is not Statler looking at his genitals and knowing his family history.
Waldorf doesn't wear underwear.
I think one of the sort of redeeming qualities of this episode is the next sketch, which is the Scottish bagpiper who wants to play the Bonnie Glasgow samba on his bongos. And Kermit, again, saying, no, you must be the cliche Scotsman. You must play the bagpipes.
Yeah. And you know what? He shoots a Muppet with a gun. You were just saying the other day that you've never seen a Muppet shoot another Muppet with a gun. Now you have.
That's true. And this actually ends up being, I think, an okay number where the bagpiper comes out and he plays a Brazilian samba number. So he still gets to play a Brazilian samba number. He gets to play the samba he wanted to play on his bongos, but has to do it on his bagpipes, which then become sentient and walk away.
Yeah. And then are killed.
Yes. Well, you can't let bagpipes be wandering around out there.
That's true. They're an invasive species.
Yeah, they're only native to Scotland. Then we have another insufferable Spike Milligan segment, this time with the newsman, who is often one of my least favorite characters as well. So that's a great combo to lean into.
Even more not funny than the other thing.
Yeah, because this time Spike Milligan's supposed to be translating what the newsman is saying, I guess for English people. I'm not sure what the translation is for here.
Again, would have been funny if he had been using incredibly thick, like weird English slang to say the things the Muppet newsman was saying, but he's just like flailing around.
Yeah, and he just like mugs to the camera and makes some weird gestures and things that are supposed to be translations and fights with himself and not good.
Mugs to the camera. That's about 90% of what he does, I would say.
It's all he's like mugging to the camera like, laugh, damn it.
Yeah.
Like that's Spike Milligan's whole energy.
Maybe
is
he's
like,
a Fozzie Bear type.
but he's like the Fozzie who's been doing this for 60 years and is like, you fucking people, I am so tired of you not laughing at my stuff. I'm funny, goddammit.
There's a part where earlier Gonzo was like, "Oh, it's about time we get some class on this show," and I did. That's where like I think it would be funny if Spike Milligan came on and was extremely weird, and him and Gonzo got to be weird together, because that's never really happened before. Fozzie always gets to hang out with comedians, but Gonzo's never really gotten to hang out with a weird person.
I feel like it would have happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we've seen Gonzo sort of bond with some performers and then give him advice.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's ever been anybody quite as weird as a Gonzo. And yeah, if they would have paired up Spike Milligan and Gonzo, I don't know if that would have made this episode better, but it maybe would have humanized Spike Milligan a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
We then come to the UK spot, which is Wayne singing Dog Walk while he walks a dog and runs into other dogs and a baby.
Yeah. A baby's on a leash. That was why I gave it one. That was one of the stars I gave it. Because the song mentions a baby, and then Lou, the girl Lou from Lubbock, Lou Jug Band, walks by with her baby on a leash. I thought that was very funny.
There's so many Lou's.
There's 2 Lou's in Lubbock, Lou. There's Lou Zealand. Oh my God, there is a lot of
Louis
Lou's.
Kazager.
What the hell is wrong with them?
I don't know. It's just like when they run out of names, they're just like, I don't know, another Lou, I guess? Like I thought having 2 Nigels was weird, but I guess as many Lou's as you can fit.
Yeah, 2 Nigels and 4 Lou's.
We have the Electric Mayhem finally showing up. I don't think we've seen a lot of them in this batch of episodes. But they're playing America from West Side Story, which, it's fine. It features Menomina coming in and playing some ukulele because apparently Menomina is from Hawaii.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
He does kind of have he's maybe would have spent a lot of time on the beach. I could get that vibe from him.
Yeah, he's got an old surfer vibe.
Yeah.
Like owns the surf shop and like talks to all the little kids about the good old days, man. There was a 70-foot wave. Yeah, I think there's too many versions of like the same joke in this episode where it's just like, we're going to pay tribute to this country by doing a thing that's like not at all about that country. So we have Japan, we have an Oklahoma thing. We have a Scottish bagpiper playing a Brazilian song. We have the Electric Mayhem playing a song called America, but that is not traditionally performed by an American person.
Right.
So,
right.
It's just, it's like kind of the same not great joke over and over.
Yeah. That's right. I didn't think of that. There's no other punchline than this music's played in a weird, different way.
Yeah. Or if they leaned into it again, a little bit more of them thinking America is this like extremely patriotic song, because it must be. It's called America. Like that's what it's all about, right? It's just a tribute to America.
Oh, yeah. Like Sam Eagle singing it and being like, wait a minute. Like if you're singing a Bruce Springsteen song, you're like,
right, exactly.
Listen to this song before.
Yeah. You need to listen to the lyrics, maybe. And then we get a character introduced who I thought for sure was going to be like, popping up more either in this episode or maybe in future episodes because he gets such a big introduction.
Yeah.
Another Lou.
I was just going to say the same thing. This is our 5th Lou.
Oh, yeah, Louis Greco, who's a Morse code flamenco dancer. This is the second flamenco mention in this batch of episodes, but the only time we're going to see Louis Greco.
He does seem like he could. He seems like he could maybe have stuck around. He'd be friends with New Zealand and the other guy who hits the
Marvin
Muppets.
Suggs.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he looks like he'd be like Marvin Suggs' brother or something.
I'm
curious what you think about this next section. Spike Milligan performs the Intergalactic Brotherhood of Man, including Things, which is a very sort of like avant-garde, artsy performance art kind of thing.
I think you could do something like, I think Jim would have fun doing an avant-garde thing like this 10, 15 years ago or whatever. Like, he would have pulled out all the stops. But this felt like I wanted to like this, but they could have done so much more with it. It just is like all the same puppets you've seen before and the background and like spoken word Dada as poetry or whatever. That could be something you could do really cool with the Muppets, but it's mostly like green screen tricks. And then New Zealand pops up for some reason.
Yeah, and I think the green screen tricks, even, you sort of like, you see all of them coming, and they're not even like that clever.
Mhm.
And yeah, I didn't get it, and I think there's something there that like you could get out of it. But again, I think Spike Milligan just in general, not necessarily for me.
Yeah, like a whole nonsense episode of the Muppet Show would have been really fun. So it just feels like a huge missed opportunity that this is the racist episode instead.
Yeah, like an episode where Kermit is trying to rein in Spike Milligan and be like, okay, Spike, for this next sketch, we need to try and get you like making some sense. Let's do a very straightforward, you're going to do some Shakespeare or something like that. Like a classic cultural thing so that people can actually understand, go. And then it's nonsense. I could see that working, but yeah, this was nothing for me. And also, yes, does bring New Zealand back into the fray of like, damn it, he's not going anywhere. And then the closing number is the Parade of Nations, which is the It's a Small World number. I think this opens up in a very interesting, good way, where Kermit says, this is dedicated to one of our favorite countries, Disneyland.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I really enjoy the puppeteering at the beginning of this is very stiff and like animatronic.
Yeah.
Like all the Muppets are moving very much like the It's a Small World animatronics do.
Mm-hmm.
Droop is there. He's wearing a sombrero.
There's a snouth there.
There's a snouth there, also representing some country that I can't necessarally determine.
No, I think she's supposed to be like a milkmaid or something.
Yeah, I think they just took all the extra puppets they had and slapped wigs on them.
Yeah.
Because I think there's like a snake or something that's wearing a Native American headdress.
Oh, that's
so yeah, they have.
Sanchez is back there.
Yeah. So they have a lot of random Muppets playing random nationalities.
Cool set too. It's painted like a Mary Blair painting.
Yeah, and we had mentioned actually in the Camelot one how that set sort of reminded you of Mary Blair.
Yeah.
And then now we get the actual Mary Blair tribute with the It's a Small World. And I think, again, something that in any other episode maybe could have been pulled off well.
Yeah, and while I think It's a Small World is kind of a nice song if you like listen to the lyrics and stuff, but it is annoying, and it's funny that they would play such an annoying song. And that is one of the better parts at the end of this when they keep going and going and they never stop. And then Spike Milligan falls asleep on stage for no reason. That was like, I was like, oh, I like this part. This is kind of fun chaos, but a lot of racism in this too.
Yeah, in the middle of that chaos, we have Spike Milligan just popping in to dress as different stereotypes and say different random things in other languages. And most of them very stereotypical and offensive.
And Sam Eagle's popping in there to usher him off stage, which is also kind of a fun little thing. But at what cost? At what cost is the fun?
One of the things in this episode is at the end, Spike Milligan's wearing a shirt with some Arabic writing on it, and it says Kuwait, apparently, which was, I guess, a joke because he had a show that you referenced earlier that was called Q8.
Yes, every new season. So the first Q was called Q5, and then every season after that went up one number.
Yeah,
so I think there was a Q1 through 4 though.
Yeah, maybe someday.
It's wacky, you know.
Somebody will make the prequels to the Q series. So yeah, I think there was something I was reading about how for a while there was some conspiracy theories about what his shirt actually said or something, or that it has like some secret message, but really it just says Kuwait, and that's a slight joke on Q8.
Haha.
Haha.
Yeah, but I do really like the end of this when Kermit is kind of just watching in like genuine like bemusement and like, well, I don't know what to do with any of this. And you can see the whole stage and like the curtain even closes, I think. Like you see like a different view of the set than you normally see, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I like that chaos. I like the song not being shut off, and I think that's one of those things where apparently since day one, people have been annoyed by It's a Small World being a never-ending repetitive song.
It's only been around for like 10 years at this point.
Yeah, and it was already a big enough joke that you could make it on network TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, a very tainted episode with a lot of the things throughout it.
Just not very much fun to watch.
No, it's again, very, very cringy moments interlaced with some very unfunny moments. So yeah, I understand why this episode is not on Disney Plus in Europe. I'm actually kind of surprised that it snuck through the American Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think 2/3 solid batch from this one. I really enjoyed the Gilda Radner and Marrisa Berenson, but Spike Milligan can go away forever.
Yeah, we never have to speak of him again. He never interacts with a Muppet for the rest of his life.
But now it's time for our Muppet of the Week. Somebody who does, unfortunately, interact with Muppets for the rest of time. This week's Muppet of the Week is Mr. Maybe Sir New Zealand.
Don't give him the dignity of a mister.
New Zealand. He is the boomerang fish throwing man of undetermined origin. He has a red clown nose, orange skin, and a clown Shakespeare-like collar. I think it's more clown.
And a ringleader outfit for some reason.
Yeah, like I'm not really sure.
Master or whatever.
Yeah, he sort of seems like they grabbed a box of Muppet parts, and he came out and was like, "I guess you're a character now."
He's the essence of all Muppet.
All distilled down to a clown.
Yeah.
But he is the original orange whatnot that we've referred to previously as the Proto-New Zealand. Apparently that orange whatnot Muppet was designed by Dave Goelz, and then Amy Van Gilder was responsible for finishing up the design of the actual character. So we have her to blame.
She birthed a monster. I wonder if she lives with that guilt every day.
Well, she apparently now works with Imagineering with the Disney Muppets, so she's still working as a part of them. So maybe she's the one keeping New Zealand in everyone's brain.
They didn't run her out of town?
No, she's like, he is my son. He has to be a part of this project.
Oh, no.
Because, yeah, we even seen him in Muppets Haunted Mansion where he plays one of the dead husbands of the ghost lady.
He's prominent. Gosh, it is all this person's fault. You're right.
Amy Van Gilder, come on the podcast and answer for your crimes.
Defend yourself, yeah.
As we mentioned earlier, New Zealand was only meant to appear once in the Marrisa Berenson episode, but then he has now gone on to appear in every single Muppet movie except Kermit's Swamp Years.
Oh, well, they couldn't fit in a baby New Zealand. Come on. They could have tried harder.
He's just fishing at the pond. Like,
yeah.
Hello, I'm here.
What's a fish? I've never seen a fish before.
That's his origin story, too.
Then, like,
he's
big
fishing.
log falls on his head, and he's like, whoa, whoa. And then he sees a fish, and that's that.
So, yes, his debut was in this December 1978 episode, where he is performed by Jerry Nelson, who will be his main performer until basically Jerry Nelson stops performing as Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
In 2003 is when Jerry Nelson performed his last role as New Zealand in Muppets Party Cruise.
Great. Can't wait to play as New Zealand in Muppets Party Cruise.
In between him getting a new performer full-time, Bill Barretta stepped in a couple of times. In 2002, Bill Barretta performed New Zealand in It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas. And in 2005, in Muppets Wizard of Oz.
He's in every goddamn thing.
He is just in everything. And he's always the same character, which I think is what bugs me the most about New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is that he very rarely gets any sort of other personality trait other than he's the fish-throwing man.
The fish, and everybody hates it.
Yeah. Since 2008, surprise, surprise, Matt Vogel has been performing New Zealand.
Sure.
He started performing him in Muppets Letters to Santa, which if you have to watch one of the more obscure Muppet Christmas specials, Letters to Santa is the one to watch instead of It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas.
I can never keep those straight, which is the crummy one.
Yeah, I watched them both during the Christmas time, and it became very clear to me which one I preferred. But yes, Matt Vogel has been performing New Zealand up until present. So in Muppets Haunted Mansion, that is Matt Vogel, who again is also having to perform Uncle Deadly and Sweetums and Kermit and many other people.
Having to. He's forced to.
Well, I mean, it's his job.
Yeah.
I'm sure he enjoys it. But at the same time, he is the one who has been chosen to perform half of the characters that exist. Fun fact about New Zealand, and really the only fun fact about New Zealand that I could track down, his voice at least, is based on an old comedian named Frankie Fontaine, who had a character he would do, and he would perform on just like his own comedy specials or with like the the old comedians of the 50s. And he would do a character named Crazy Guggenheim,
Oh, right.
who sounds pretty much exactly like New Zealand. But yes, that is apparently the origin story of at least the characterization behind New Zealand is Jerry Nelson based him on Frankie Fontaine. And yeah, that is all I have to say about this bad man who throws fish.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't know. It's him and Marvin Suggs, who I think is going to be our Muppet of the Week next week, too. So it's going to be like a dark period here in commitment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, I don't know why. Just anytime he shows up, I just, oh, God, here we go. We're going to have to spend 30 seconds talking about fish with this guy.
Yeah, I think him just having literally the exact same joke every time is probably... And his voice is so annoying.
Right. Like, all that happens when he shows up is he says, I throw the fish away and they come back. And you're like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've known this for 45 years.
He's also got, Homsar from Homestar Runner.
Yes.
Homsar vibes coming off this guy.
Yeah.
But Homsar's a delight. I don't know what the difference here is.
They just got to let Lou do some more stuff. And maybe through the years, we'll see him be a little bit more interesting and we'll come to like him. But for now, he is getting my lowest rating I've ever given a Muppet. Which is? 25.
Yee. That's rough. I would hate to see what is like a 10-star Muppet for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what that would be.
Hopefully it doesn't even exist.
I mean, if we had to rate some of the racist Muppets in this episode, they'd be pretty low on that ranking list, but I don't think they're ever going to fall into the Muppet of the Week category.
I think I'll give him 1.5 stars. He looks kind of fun. I like his jacket.
Again, I like his design. I like if he had just shown up for this one episode. He might be one of my favorite Muppets if he was a one-off joke.
That's true. I'm going to give him 2 stars because he's so funny in that one we just watched.
I'll accept that rating. I guess that's fine.
Great.
But yeah, that's all there is to know about New Zealand. But we will for sure be talking about him through the years.
Probably the most prominent Muppet with the shortest bio. Didn't even have a mom or dad.
Yeah, maybe that's the origin story we need to write, Sam. We need to write the New Zealand origin story movie.
Oh, that would be an exercise in hell.
Before we go, Sam, I need to check in. Do you have time to watch any non-Muppet stuff this week?
Pretty much the only thing I had time to watch this week was the Book of Boba Fett, which I have very mixed feelings about because it's flashbacks. I thought the Tusken Raider stuff was cool. I don't care about how he met, what's her name? Shooty gun lady.
Fennec Shand.
There's so many of the flashback things I don't care about. I like Star Trek, or I like Star Wars as a TV show, because I think it's a fun world to get to live in more frequently than just a movie every 6 years or whatever. But it's kind of boring. But I kind of like it too, and it looks cool, and I like all their clothes and stuff.
Yeah, I think this latest episode is probably the best episode so far. And as far as like moving the story forward, seems like we're going to be doing some stuff, because I was in the same boat with the flashbacks where I was like, a lot of these are boring, but I kind of like the world it's building and this relationship with these characters. And then, you killed them all. Cool. What was the point of that?
It took so many episodes to get there too.
Yeah, and then there's just confusion about the timeline of everything we've watched so far was apparently multiple years, when it seems like maybe it took place over like a week.
Was wild to me. I was like, you lived with those guys for years? It
seemed like a week.
Yeah.
So yeah,
they didn't seem like they liked you that much, honestly.
No. Yeah, it was a rough few years for you. But yes, I'm glad the flashbacks seem like they're maybe done, and that we're moving on. But there's not that many episodes left, so I don't really know. It doesn't feel like it's building the hype quite as much as The Mandalorian was, where every week with The Mandalorian I was excited to watch the next episode because of where they left me. And this, I'm just watching it because it's there. It's Star Wars. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not excited for the next episode to drop. I
hope then the rest of the bounty hunters show up in the next one.
I'm really hoping for some, for LOM, Zuckuss. And
you
all
gotta
those
get
boys.
Forlom and Zuckuss in there. Come on, we got a Forlom and Zuckuss spinoff.
There's some very good Forlom and Zuckuss things happening in the comics right now, where Forlom got reprogrammed to try and kill Zuckuss.
No.
Yeah, and he gets his head attached to this giant spider body, and it's like this murderous. Friends. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Zuckuss is trying to get his friend back, and it's very sweet. But yeah, I the fact that they have Black Chrysanthemum in there is giving me hope that we'll get to see some more.
He's a comics guy, right?
Yes, he was introduced in the comics. Like the first time we actually see him, he's hanging out with Boba Fett in the comics. And so the fact that they're back together again is nice, and hopefully we'll get some more bounty hunters coming in, because we don't really know what happened to most of them between the time after Empire Strikes Back and the time of the Book of Boba Fett. So you can kind of write that story now. You can do whatever you want with them.
Right.
I don't think most of the ones that we see in Empire Strikes Back when they're all lined up, most of those guys are still alive, at least in canon.
You
So
can't kill them. They're too cool.
no. So yeah, hopefully we'll have Bosk or somebody show up in the future.
Oh, Bosk and the Wookiee guy are not going to like each other.
No, you might try to rip his arms off.
Yeah.
I think in the
Was
comics.
this the first time we've ever seen a Wookiee rip someone's arms off for real?
Yes, I think so, because
That was great.
there was a deleted scene in Force Awakens where Chewbacca did it. But this is the first time it's actually made it into something.
Terrific. How about you? What'd you watch?
I watched The Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh, how'd you like it?
It's actually better than I remember. The last 15 minutes are kind of dumb.
Mhm.
There's just
Were
a
they on
moment-
top of the building trying to fix everything?
Not that, it's the crane thing specifically.
Oh.
Where all these crane workers are like, "Hey man, Spider-Man needs our help.
I forgot
Let's all
that was that
move
one.
our cranes to
Yes.
go over the street so
To
we
let
can
him
get there
zip around
faster."
better. Yeah.
And I'm
New
like,
York,
wait,
baby.
Spider-Man has never had any problem going down a street between buildings. If
That's
he
his
can go
whole
from
thing.
crane to crane, he can go from building to building just
Yeah.
as quickly. I don't know why that helps anything. So that was the only moment that was not great for me. And I don't think the Lizard is an incredibly well-handled villain.
Yeah.
But I like that movie more than I remember liking it initially. And that's as far as we've gotten so far in our Spider-Man rewatches. We've got
You ain't got much left.
No, we got one more to watch of the Andrew Garfield ones, and we watched the Tom Holland ones not that long ago. So
Right.
we're going to watch the next Andrew Garfield one, and then we will finally go see No Way Home, maybe.
We'll be out of theaters by then.
That'd be ideal. Put it on streaming, please.
Yeah.
Let me watch it. I will pay $40 for that right now if you let me. Next week here on Commitment, we are going to be watching, guess what? More season 3 episodes of The Muppet Show. With guests Elka Summer, Danny Kaye, and Leslie Ann Warren. And we'll also be watching a very odd Muppet appearance on the pilot for the Orson Welles show, which was a Orson Welles talk show that did not go beyond the pilot. And if you want to watch that Orson Welles pilot, it is on archive.org. Most of it is him talking with Burt Reynolds, but there is
Sounds
about
great.
a 25-minute chunk in there with some Muppets.
What the hell? That's a long time.
Yeah, it's an hour and a half long thing, so I don't encourage any of us to watch the full thing, but it's very weird and very clear why Orson Welles did not get a talk show. And before we go, we need to thank our friend Tuna for creating the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at CommitmentPod, where you'll find the list of things we're watching for each episode, and you can interact with us and let us know what you thought of episodes that we have watched. And you can also email us at mail@commitment.com if you have longer thoughts than a tweet.
Yes,
And don't forget-
tell us. You should have longer thoughts.
And don't forget to go to commitment.com, where you can check out our In the Works website that doesn't have much functionality yet. But the main functionality that you will find there is you can go to our shop and order a pin. You can get the first piece of Commitment merch. You can be part of the very exclusive club who got that first round merch before Disney comes for our asses.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but
I don't think
potentially
so.
could.
People sell crazier stuff.
Yeah. But you can follow us on the internet. I'm at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.